Dear Daily News Report viewers, after watching this video, you can reach the video we shared previously by clicking on the top right button. The main topic of the previous video was about hyperinflation and food shortages. We recommend watching, subscribing, and sharing. Thanks in advance. Many have warned for years that our economic bubble will burst and a collapse is inevitable, but the brutality of this new economic crisis has been almost unprepared, and although some states have been trying to reopen their economies, in the last few days the job loss tsunami continues. Prior to this year, the all-time record for the most recent unemployment request was 695,000 within a week. This record was completely restored in 1982 and survived until 2020, but now we definitely dwarf this number for weeks. We learned on Thursday that 2.9 million Americans submitted their first claims about unemployment money last week, which brought the overall sum of this outbreak to more than 36 million. New filings for unemployment claims totaled just shy of 3 million for the most recent reporting period, a number that, while still high, declined for the sixth straight week, according to Labor Department's figures Thursday. The total 2,981 million new claims for unemployment insurance filed last week brought the coronavirus crisis total to nearly 36.5 million, by far the biggest loss in United States history. The count announced last week count was revised up by 7,000, 3.186 million, putting the weekly decline at 195,000 between the two most recent reports. To put that in perspective, only 15 million Americans were unemployed at the lowest point of the Great Depression. Of course, our population is a bit larger today, and so it's not a simple comparison, but what everyone can agree on is that we have never seen such a 2-month unemployment rate in all United States history. According to the Federal Reserve, low-income workers are hit harder than anyone else. The Federal Reserve Bank on Thursday reported just how unequally the coronavirus-induced economic downturn is hitting Americans. On one hand, lower-income people are getting slammed. Nearly 40% of those with a household income below $40,000 reported a job loss in March, according to the Economic Well-Being of United States Households report. Unfortunately, this happens whenever there is an economic crisis. Weak people under the food chain are the most hurt, but fat cats with a political impact can make big rescues. Millions of new unemployed low-income workers used to be employed by the restaurant industry, but this sector was absolutely deprived of this crisis. The National Restaurant Association says some $30 billion was lost by its members in March and $50 billion in April. In the last week alone, several restaurants have announced that they will not reopen, including the Buffett chain, Soup Plantation, and Sweet Tomatoes, Jen's Grill in Chicago, and Restaurant Francino, which has been serving patrons in the San Francisco area for over 32 years. Of course, most restaurant closings will never let you know because small independent operations without corporate support. In the coming days, we will see a restaurant apocalypse that we have never seen before in American history. If you believe it, an industry expert told Bloomberg that nearly a quarter of United States restaurants will be permanently closed. Your favorite restaurant now closed or only accepting takeout orders due to the coronavirus may never reopen, according to a top exec with reservation service OpenTable. Steve Huffner, CEO of Booking Holdings, OpenTable and travel site Kayak, told Bloomberg that 1 out of every 4 restaurants will not come back. This is a huge tragedy, and it will be very depressing to see so many buildings sitting empty in communities around the country. And things will be very different for restaurants that can stay open. For example, take a look at the changes happening in McDonald's. When McDonald's restaurants reopen their dining rooms, customers should expect stickers on the floor encouraging social distancing and the closure of self-serve beverage bars. Workers wearing masks might check in with a thumbs up or kindly ask you to move away from others. If a trip to McDonald's is like this, I don't think I will make a visit for a long time. What we really need is that the country tries to return to normal, but in more liberal regions of the United States, it will not be for the foreseeable future. So the United States economy will continue to be caught in this death spiral, and Fed Chair Jay Powell is warning that we could soon see a wave of bankruptcies from coast to coast. Federal Reserve Chief Jay Powell warned Wednesday of a potential wave of bankruptcies that could cause lasting harm to the world's largest economy, and said more fiscal support may be needed to prevent the devastation despite the massive cost. Powell, who has launched a host of key programs to support credit markets and provide funds directly to companies, said there are limits to how far the Fed can go. Especially follow the commercial real estate sector closely. In order to serve their loans, commercial property owners must successfully collect rentals from their tenants, and most of these tenants are currently unable to pay. For example, see the numbers reported by a New York City commercial host. A major New York City commercial landlord collected just 73% of its April office rent from tenants, with an increasing number defaulting on payments amid growing uncertainty over whether corporate buildings will become a thing of the past. Empire State Realty Trust, owner of the Empire State Building, collected only 73% of its office rents and 46% of its retail rents due in April. Unless there is some sort of rescue operation, we will see the commercial real estate massacre on a much larger scale than anything we have seen before. Of course, almost every industry needs a recovery at this point, and not everyone will get one. The fear of COVID-19 did not create conditions for this new economic crisis, but it has finally detonated the debt-fueled economic bubble that has kept the conditions relatively stable over the past few years. Since our economy is starting to get out of control, no one will be able to put the pieces back together, and the truth is just the beginning of our problems. Many things I warn are beginning to happen, and our economy will continue to fall apart in the coming months. But that does not mean your life is over. Yes, the days ahead will be extremely challenging, but heroes are born when things are at their darkest. God has a plan for you, and I don't care how radical this plan can be. Being created by Daily News Report. Before making any important investment decision, use the information contained in these videos as a starting point for conducting your own research. If you make any investment or legal decision, it is advised to consult an expert before making this decision.